This is a Defocus Media production.
Audio Jungle.
What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Daryl Glover.
And I'm Dr. Jennifer Lyerly, resident optometry nerd.
And welcome to Defocus Media, optometry's #1 podcast, where we discuss the hottest topics, latest technology, eyewear, practice management, and more. So sit back, relax, and defocus. Hello. What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Daryl Glover. And today I'm hanging out with the lovely opto nerd, Dr. Jennifer Lyerly. How are you doing today, Dr. Lyerly?
Doing good. I'm awake after seeing patients, and it's 9 o'clock, and I haven't even had extra coffee to keep me up at this point. That's how excited we are about bringing back Optocribs.
Yes, we're super excited to have another episode of Optocribs. And today we're going to dive deep into Dr. Brittany McMurren's practice. How are you doing today, Brittany?
Doing great. Thank you guys for staying up. It's only 6 o'clock here, so I appreciate you guys hanging out with me.
Well, we greatly appreciate you giving us the opportunity to learn more about you and your amazing practice. You know, Jen and I, we came up with this concept, Optocribs, because when we were younger, we were big fans of MTV Cribs, and we were like, why not remix it and bring it to the world of eye care? So that's what we're doing today. So we're super excited to learn about your practice and you. But before we get started, we always like to know, who are we talking to? How did you get into optometry? Where are you from? Where do you practice? Let's take it from the top, Brittany, if you don't mind helping us out with getting to learn a little bit more about you this evening.
All right. Those were some loaded questions. So I'm Brittany McMurren. I'm originally out of New York, New Jersey. And I actually ended up in optometry because when I was in Costa Rica on vacation in college, somebody stole the glasses out of my backpack. I had to go back to college 3 days after I got back to the States, walked into a Lens Crafters, and the doctor that was there was just the coolest human I had ever met in my entire life. And I said, when I grow up, I'm going to be just like you.
Nice.
Walked out the door, told my mom, I know what I'm doing for the rest of my life. And that was it.
Fantastic.
Thank gosh someone stole those glasses.
Right? Yeah, so went to school out in Illinois, College of Optometry. And for anybody who hasn't gone to optometry school, your fourth year, you do rotations at different sites throughout the country. So you can see different practices and different patient populations, because who we see in Chicago is not the same as who we see in Florida. So my last year of optometry school, I went to San Diego for a 3-month internship. And that was 9 years ago. I just never left.
So when you said you were from New York, New Jersey, that's what I was, because I was like, oh, you practice on the West Coast. So that's how you got out there, was your externships. That's amazing.
Yes. I could not leave. I could not go back to Chicago snow. I was done.
Look, I went to school at PCO. And I remember doing an externship there in low vision. And it was in the winter months, and it snowed. And when I had to dig my car out of the snow and still go to clinic, I was like, no, I'm going back down south. We don't do this in North Carolina. If it's any little bit of snow or just a sprinkle, the whole place shuts down. So that's what I was used to. So I knew that I was going to come back down south and never see, snow above my ankles ever again in my life.
Hey, if I knew I could skip winter, I would have been down here decades ago. Nobody told me I could just skip winter.
Well, Dr. McMurren, you've got everything framed up so beautifully with you guys, your logo in the background. So how did you end up at Werner Optometry? What was your path to your current practice?
So the externship site, Gordon Shanslin in San Diego, that I just never left. They hired me after I graduated. I stayed there for about 5 years. I started a dry eye clinic there. That was the first dry eye clinic I started. And then I started venturing out, wanting to see if I could eventually own my own practice. So I started working part-time here with Dr. Rex and Aaron Werner. It's a mom and pop shop. It's a father-son shop. And they so kindly adopted me into the practice. And so this is the second dry eye clinic that I started. And I was also working with an ophthalmologist an hour north of here and started his dry eye clinic also. But now I'm full-time here.
Well, that's really, you being kind of a dry eye clinic starter, I think is such an interesting concept because every place you've touched, you brought in this kind of specialty to your care. And so as part of the tour today, that's one of the aspects. I think so many people, we want to build dry eye practices. We know our patients need it, but then when we get into the weeds of it, it can get kind of confusing. Hey, you've done this 3 times, so you've got a process down. So that's one of the big things we want to learn from you today. But why don't we start off just like, let's take a look at this beautiful office, because I think a lot of us can get inspired to rethink what we're doing when we see what you guys are doing that you love in your own practice.
Sure. So this is our front lobby. And we're gonna spin around, and here's our beautiful front desk. We actually advertise all of our services up on that video screen: dry eye services, AMD services, things like that. We have our whole little dry eye mini shop in the back. Not sure you can see that in the corner.
Oh yeah, you see it clearly. Hey, Brittany, I'm curious to know, when did you guys go with the digital advertising? Because I know that's the new wave. Everyone is going from just regular paper, poster board, POP to more of a digital way of marketing within the office. Is that something that's been there pretty much the whole time, or is that something new?
It's been there longer than I've been here. So I think it's been here almost 7 or 8 years.
Oh wow, you guys
early adopters. Y'all are leading the charge.
Yeah, Dr. Aaron Werner. If it's new, he wants it. So we have yeah, so there's our little front office, our little dry eye shop, and here we have our optical. And actually, because of COVID, we made some structural changes. We actually used to have a big wall up here, and patients would sit in the waiting room and feel like they had to ask permission to come see glasses.
Yeah.
So while we were shut down for a couple months, we just knocked down the wall so people can just come check out glasses while they're waiting for their exam to start.
Fantastic.
That's so great.
What brands do you carry?
Oh, we have Tiffany, we have got Maui, we've got Tom Ford, we've got some Spy sunglasses, some Oakleys. We like to keep it varied here.
Mm-hmm.
And Ray-Ban. In case you can see, we got some Ray-Ban.
I think, how much are you guys loving not having that wall there? It looks like it's so open now.
Oh yeah, it's really great. And we actually got rid of a whole lot of frame lines just to make it more spacious, so we can socially distance. But I really like it. We've actually done better since we've done that.
Yeah. What about some of the older offices I've been into in North Carolina have the walls and the segregations like that, where it's like, okay, now this is where you go into optical, and it's almost like a little sliding window where you have to like see if you can come in. But yeah, it does make it like unfriendly a little bit to shop. So I love that you guys did that.
And right before COVID hit, my biggest plan was to turn this optical honestly into more like a cafe, like little cafe tables where people can come and have coffee and wait and shop around and look for glasses. Make it a lot more social, but we'll have to put that on hold for a minute. Hopefully soon we can get back to that.
I think that's a lovely idea when we're able to do that again. I'd love to do something like that too.
When I set it up, you guys can come visit.
There we go. Round 2.
Hey, Jen, if you set that up, you'll never leave work. You'll always be at work and never go home.
I never go home anyway. It works out great. At least now we'll have coffee.
Hey, what is that device in the middle where it looks like something is sticking out in a mirror? Is that something for measuring frame or lenses, or what is that?
So this is a Visi office. I don't even know if they make these anymore, but it's for digital lenses. It was from Essilor, right? Essilor. And we put these little contacts on whatever frame the patient wants to wear. They put it on, they stand here. We give them directions, look right, look left, look up, look down. So that way we can get the best digital area for them. And we can measure the PD at every distance in every field of gaze.
Gotcha. So that's pretty cool.
It is super cool.
Yeah.
When it first launched, we actually had to keep little step stools around because it wasn't meant for people that were 5 feet and shorter. We still have all step stools.
Hey, Brittany, I just want to share this with you. You got someone watching all the way from the Philippines. That is pretty cool. I think that's the first from the Philippines, so that is huge. That is very awesome.
Hello, world.
Awesome. So what's next? Let's see what else. What other technology do you have in that area? Do you have anything else, or are we going to take it to the back and see where all the magic happens?
Let's go see where the magic happens.
Okay.
Here's our first pre-test room. We have two, but this is actually a retinal camera that we've been doing clinical trials with.
Oh, neat.
With the company, trying to come up with new functionality for it. So we've been really lucky to have this in the office and not have to pay for it. Unfortunately, we've got to give it back soon.
I was about to say.
We've got, our auto refractor. Pretty sure it's older than most of my staff, but it works. Over here, we actually have something for myopia management, which we more recently got into. We fit the MySight lenses.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how dry eye led me to start doing myopia management. I'll get to that in a second. But this does axial length scans and topography for when we're fitting kids with contacts. And then this, if you guys haven't seen it, this is the Oculus keratograph.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the ways we do our dry eye imaging. And I think I left myself up here to show you. Yes.
Oh, sweet.
We run every patient that walks through this door through the, at least the gland imaging, so we can see everybody's meibomian glands. But it has this whole suite of images we can take. So this is me. Not sure you can see it, but there's my SPK on a good day.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see, right under your Don. Steal the mouse. There we go. And we can track how quickly the tears are evaporating off the front of the eye. We can watch blink dynamics, stuff trapped in the tears, all sorts of cool things. Even fluorescein images, which I absolutely love. And then, I don't know if you can see it, but that's my left eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only 5 glands I own.
Oh my gosh.
I have severe MGD.
Have you felt symptomatic, or were you shocked when you saw that was the only glands you had left? Or
it made a lot more sense because I've actually had dry eyes my entire life, and as a kid, you don't realize that that's what's happening. You think everybody feels that terrible, but it actually wasn't until I was in college and was thinking about getting tested for mono because I felt like I had to sleep all the time and I couldn't study. And it wasn't that. My dry eyes were so severe that I just couldn't stand looking at a book for that many hours at a time.
Wow.
So
I bet it makes it so much easier to connect with patients though when they're looking at their images and like, what is this? And you can say like, this is mine, this is me. Let me tell you what my experience has been.
Yes. And if I can make it, you can make it, because I'm sure you've got more than those 5 little glands.
Now, how does this work with your technicians? I'm assuming they're doing all these special testing here, and what kind of dialogue are they having with the patients, and how are they presenting that, hey, we do this on every single patient, without them looking at you like, I don't know, that's going to be $1 million. I don't think I want those services. I mean, what kind of conversation and dialogue are you having with your technicians to be able to do this, and what kind of dialogue are they having with the patients?
So with the technicians, they're always explaining the tests they're doing, including all the ones in the dry eye suite. So they'll say, okay, we're taking a picture to see if you've got dryness. We're putting the stain in for that. So the patients know what we're imaging as we go through. And even if we're just doing the gland images on the complete eye exams that walk in, the technicians always take the time to show them to the patients and say, there are some structural changes here that Dr. McMurren is probably going to want to talk to you about. We're probably going to bring you back for a dry eye workup. And that's when we bring everybody back for the full workup. So the technicians actually handle all of that, which is awesome. Makes my job easy.
Yeah.
And the patients are always really impressed with what they see. The technicians are actually so well versed in this that they can walk through all the symptoms associated with the photos, explain to the patient what kind of treatments there are to address which factors of their dry eye.
Yeah.
So honestly, I'm pretty sure I can retire and this dry eye practice will run itself.
Well, something that I love that you touched on, Brittany, is that the technicians are well versed in this, but they're well versed to be able to educate that patient that you're going to bring them back, and you're not doing that all today under a routine eye exam. I think that is very key to, number one, to realize that your technicians are what's going to make your life tremendously easier, and that you need to give them the knowledge to be able to have this conversation with the patient so that the patients feel comfortable with your office. Because if they feel great with your technicians, then they're going to love everything about you, because we know you're taking the time to invest in the technicians to be better and greater in regards to just day-to-day practice. So kudos to that. That's a fantastic job.
They're my biggest asset. We love them.
Absolutely.
The technicians actually do most of the dry eye treatments also.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really pretty hands-off at this point.
So you really spend a lot of your time just really communicating with the patients and just really educating and telling them how you're going to treat everything. I mean, I personally feel like that's how it should be. We should spend more time having conversations instead of just collecting data. Jen and I have had this conversation numerous times on several different podcasts, but sometimes we are just, information gatherers. And rather than us sitting down and gathering that information, we really need to sit down and educate about what we're finding and how we're going to find a solution for that patient. And it sounds like you've mastered that.
And the technicians love it because it's something they feel they can own. Like they feel so knowledgeable in this and so empowered by that. So far, every technician we've trained has loved doing it. You were mentioning bringing patients back for the rest of the dry eye testing. And that was one of the hardest lessons for me to learn. And I had to learn it at the ophthalmology group I was working at. Because if you've never been in an ophthalmology practice, you think, as an optometrist, I see this patient once a year. I have to get everything done while I have him here. So you end up spending way longer doing testing than you should, even more than the patient wants to be there, or you end up missing things. But working with an ophthalmologist, I realized, I said, okay, well, we got the fundus photo. We're going to bring you back for the OCT. And that was okay. Patients were fine doing that because they didn't want to be there for a whole hour.
Right.
And that was a really liberating thing to learn.
I think this is the hardest part of our job. I mean, this is something that happens to me every single day, right? We have these intake forms and patients click, I'm here for a routine eye exam. And then they click dry eyes, redness, watering. I'm like, you just told me two totally different things, but it's a challenge, right? Because our patients don't understand why we can't do all these same things at the same time. And then usually when they start talking about their dry eye symptoms during the exam, it's hard to not address it while they're asking you 5 million questions. So this is a balancing act that you've been able to perfect. I think every doctor struggles with this on like how to get the buy-in to we need to bring you back to address this separately.
What's really cool is because the technicians are doing all the intake, if they think a patient is dry enough that it will affect their refraction, they will tell the patient, we're changing this from your annual to a medical exam. Right. Because we have to take care of this first, and then we prescribe you glasses. So they set all that up front and just tell me what kind of exam I'm doing when I walk in there.
Beautiful. That is amazing staff.
Yes. We have the best.
Awesome. So what's next? What else do we have?
Yeah, so there is an advanced testing room where we have another OCT, things like that. But I'm just going to bring you in one exam lane where we have all of our new fun toys. So this is actually where the magic happens. So outside of dry eye, as we were mentioning before, we love all the new technology out there. So we have been switching to virtual reality headsets for a lot of our tests. So this is the Adapt DX headset, and it's for testing macular degeneration. And we do have the original unit that's about yay big that we still sometimes stick patients in. But switching to this has made it so much faster, and we can do this test no matter where in the office that the patient is, instead of bringing them to a specific testing room. So this has been phenomenal for macular degeneration.
So this is great, Brittany. Let's talk about this a little bit, because apparently you have the older technology of what this instrument is, and now you have something that's up to date, virtual reality. You can go anywhere in the office. What has been the patient's experience of, that old way of doing things versus the new way? Do you feel like they like it, or do you feel like they don't really even notice the difference, or what? Because we're always talking about technology, but you're really living this, right? So what has been your experience with seeing the past and the future and what's going on?
Patients have absolutely loved it. I can say maybe 2 patients over the age of 80 in the last year haven't liked it. But so far, everybody else has liked it.
Yeah.
Including all my 80-year-olds. But what's interesting about these virtual reality tests is they take so much less time to do because you're just strapping it on the patient's head. You don't have to position them inside the unit. And the headsets actually give verbal instructions to the patients, so the technician doesn't have to do it either.
Oh, wow.
The technician can actually walk out of the room, do something else, come back when the test is done, and take the headset back for the patient.
So how long does the test take roughly then?
So this one, it can take up to 20 minutes on the long end.
Okay.
Most people are done in about 6.
Gotcha. Wow, that's pretty impressive.
We just recently got the virtual field, which is a visual field unit. Yeah, I was like, you might have this too. Yes, it has been amazing. What has been your experience?
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know if you find this too, but I feel like it is so much faster.
Oh my gosh, yes.
The old one. And I'm getting more consistent results, which is cool. Because you're not messing with the trial frames, any of that. COVID has been interesting because people wearing face masks trying to do these tests, and they end up fogging the inside of the machine up. So that was tough to get used to the first few months we were back, but we got to figure it out now.
I was worried for a while. We weren't sure with our virtual field, like, is it going to translate? Are we going to be able to feel confident in comparing our old visual field data to this new visual field data? But we've been pleasantly surprised at how seamless the transition's been. And it's definitely, I mean, nobody likes to do a visual field, but I feel like this is the most pleasant patient visual field experience yet.
Hands down. And it's so nice because all the results are digital. I mean, we still have the old box that has the heat printer paper. Of course you still have that. And we wheel it out for those 2 patients that don't like this one. All the results being digital has been cool because we can just send them to patients if they want them, like instantly. And they're all big fans of that.
Yeah. You know, this is interesting because, you know, a lot of times we'll hear that more seasoned patients do not like this advancement of technology, but it seems like you're doing well in your practice with some of the virtual reality and the different headsets and things of that nature. So I think that sounds more like a myth, and it sounds like we need to step our game up and realize that everyone is in tune to technology.
And all the patients say it's more comfortable than those big boxes. Those big boxes we had to like stick their heads in. They all say it's more comfortable, and they are a lot faster. So I'm really surprised if a patient tells me they don't like this better.
Nice. Well, one thing I could tell you that I'm loving just looking right now is that big monitor. That monitor looks amazing. I know you can show all the pictures, and the patients just fall in love with seeing it.
Oh yeah, great. I don't think I have anything exciting to keep up on here yet, but
yeah. Do you have a big monitor in your office, or what are you guys doing for?
Yeah, we have. I mean, we've talked about, do we want to add a second big monitor, but kind of so much use just like a really large desktop so we can scroll through their retinal images and OCTs and things like that. So I think the patients need to see it, right? They need to see it in high definition, high detail, and understand why it was just so important. The images that they chose to invest in, like they're getting a great value for anything that they've decided to do at our office.
And honestly, this monitor is more for the patients than it is for us because we do all of our charts on iPads.
Right.
And we have access to all these images in high def. So we have these in every exam room, specifically so the patient can participate in the experience with us. But yeah, I wouldn't give it up. I love this.
Yeah, and you touched on the key word, experience. That's what it's all about. We have to realize that we no longer just have, you know, this transactional way of doing things. It's truly a relational experience to really take it to the next level and make the patients want to come back. I mean, you have to be able to keep held to the practice, and the best way to do that is by truly making an experience for everyone.
Right.
Yeah. I know I love it every office I go to that does it for me. So every chance we can do it in this office, we're going to jump on.
Awesome. So what other cool things do you have in there? This is amazing stuff.
So we have our tried and true. We have our little LipiFlow here for all of our MGD patients. And we do a lot of these. And my testimony with my 5 little glands is that this was the first therapy that ever actually helped me, that ever gave me symptom relief. So being able to share that with patients is really cool. Underneath, we actually have our allergy testing stuff. It doesn't look that glamorous down here, but we do environmental allergy testing with 80 of the most common environmental allergies for North America, because there's such a strong link with dry eye and allergies, and how they both just make each other worse constantly. So in doing all this dry eye, this is the first practice we've started doing allergy testing in. But I really wish I had implemented it in the other practices too, because they really do go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Can you deconstruct that a little bit more, because this is all new to me? Like how long does it take for this test? Is this something that's built out that you get reimbursed for? Is it all cash, or I mean, what's the process? How does all this work?
So it's the one we use is called Aller Focus, and it's a skin test. And I don't know if you can see this, but it's just these little plastic tips.
Yeah.
We dip in allergens, and we actually put it on the forearms. And we do all 80 allergens on the arms. And after 15 minutes, we have results with what they're allergic to and how allergic they are to it, just based on the reaction size. What's really nice is I'm allergic to literally every tree that exists. So I had this test done, and I looked insane. It just looked like I'd been attacked by bees. And half hour later, you could not tell I even had the test.
Wow.
Oh,
Well, don't come to North Carolina then if you're allergic to it.
You'd be so miserable here.
I've been down there. Oh, I know that misery. But yeah, we actually offer some sublingual drops for immunotherapy instead of going to get shots. Like some people go to the allergist every couple weeks to get injections. This company provides drops that you put under your tongue every day. And after 2 or 3 years, it cures you of the allergies. So you don't have to take your allergy medication anymore.
Oh, wow. Man, this is great. Yeah, I mean, you're really doing scope optometry here. I mean, I know when patients come in, and by the time they walk out, they're just like telling all their friends and colleagues everything they've done. And they're like, you did that where? At your optometrist? Dr. Brittany? I need to go see Dr. Brittany. You know, that's quite amazing.
That's what we're hoping for. Yeah, we love that. And then also for meibomian gland disease, we do have the tear care. Do you guys have that at your office?
No, so you have both LipiFlow and tear care. So I want to get your opinion on how are you incorporating both of those?
So kind of like the dental model almost, where like the full treatment is the LipiFlow, and then if we need to do little boosters in between treatments, then we can just always hop to the tear care.
Okay.
The thing with LipiFlow, I can't get it in everybody's eye. The activator is a certain size. So if your eyes are smaller or if you're younger, then the little tear care stick-ons that heat up are a lot better to use because I can actually reach the whole lid. Otherwise, some people just can't get treated with the LipiFlow. So this is much better than manual expression on its own.
Awesome. Well, we're getting some questions. Everyone is blown away like I was in regards to this allergy testing. They want to know, do you bill for that? And, what's the name of the company again so that they can look it up?
Yeah, sure. So it's Aller Focus. And the woman that runs it, she's fantastic. She sets you up with everything you need, including the little wheelie cart to put all your test supplies in. Does virtual training, so my staff all got trained on like a Tuesday morning randomly, and you can bill for it. It really varies from state to state what insurance pays and by payer, but insurances pay per allergen. So if you tested an allergy and the insurance pays $1 per allergen, then that's $80 for that 180 allergen test that took 15 minutes. So I've seen anywhere from $1 up to closer to $5 per allergen. So it really varies depending on where you are. So far, we haven't had any rejections from insurance.
Oh, nice. And I know you were telling me before, you just kind of, pluck them in the hand or whatever to the arm, forearm. While that's taking place, are you performing the routine eye exam and stuff like that? Or like how do you implement that into your flow of patient care?
I haven't gotten that smooth yet, but now that you mention it, I probably should.
No, this is definitely something you do at the routine exam. Damn, my goodness, this is a bring you back moment for sure.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out how you fuse in the conversation, right? Even if it's at your follow-up, like you said that we need to do in the beginning, at your medical office visit, if you're doing something with dry eye before you even get started, do you break down, allergy, dry eye, close connection? You want to get started with seeing if there's any allergies, and then you hit them. Then you go through, do your T-BUT, your fluorescein testing, and all that other jazz. And by then, 15 minutes are up, and then you can check it out, and then just hit them with the education right afterwards. I mean, I'm trying to see what the flow looks like.
I like that idea because in addition to all the bright lights we flash at patients, they definitely just want itchy arms while we do it. Yeah, so we'll bring people back for that one. That's on its own.
It's so overwhelming. Like when your arms ready to scratch and someone's trying to tell you about your tear breakup time, like you have to pay attention.
I don't care.
And they'll end up dilating them as well. They're gonna look down and can't even see what they're scratching, so they're just gonna be a hot ass mess overall.
Don't play. Everybody, this is what not to do. Brought to you by Dr. Dara Glover.
We appreciate it though. I'll let you know how it goes. I'll try it on one person. I'll let you know how it goes.
Oh my. So we have another question here. They're asking, what do you think about IPL for dry eye?
I would love to get into that. I actually haven't done an IPL in conjunction with dry eye, but everything I've been reading about it, and my colleagues out east that do it, love it. And the combination of LipiFlow and IPL seems to be really, really strong. So when I buy a bigger office and can afford to bring more equipment in here, IPL's next on the list for sure.
What about this? What is it? The LLT thing I keep seeing popping up all on the different forums and stuff like that.
Lipid layer thickness. Is that what you're talking about?
It's like some blue light or red light or something like that. I keep seeing it pop up.
No, I know what you're talking about. That's a little bit different. Yeah. I'm not as confident about talking about that because I've never attended any lectures or information about that. But some sort of red light treatment that's kind of similar in concept, I think, to IPL, but it's not as targeted. Yeah.
Yeah, that one I don't know about.
Awesome.
But if it's a smaller unit and I can fit it in this office, maybe I'll go get one.
So you mentioned before, I know we were talking about the tear care, and you had mentioned that sometimes for people with smaller eyelids or younger patients, that's kind of been a good. How young have you done a treatment like this for people with meibomian gland loss?
So the youngest we've done has been 10.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually on a pharmaceutical rep's kid. She was begging me to do it. So we ended up doing that for her kid, and he handled it really well. He actually had the LipiFlow done, but I've been finding gland loss in kids as young as 6.
Mm-hmm.
And we weren't even imaging kids that young for a long time. That's been, honestly, in the last year and a half, we started doing that. And I've been shocked to see how young these kids are. They're already showing permanent gland changes. And that's actually kind of how I got into myopia management. But I'll circle back around to that one.
Gotcha. We have another question for you. Everyone's asking 1,000,001 questions this evening. Looks like I heard that LipiFlow is now going to be reimbursed by Medicare. Is that true? And is this good reimbursement? What's going on that end? Any update?
Well, we don't know just yet. I know there are some changes coming down the pipeline. I think they're still working some things out. So I don't know if it will end up being reimbursable the way I've been reading about on Facebook, or hopefully if it's reimbursable, it's going to be as well covered as the allergy testing is, because that would be fantastic. And then we could test and treat everybody, which would be ideal.
Yeah. Nice.
I think there's more questions than answers right now, but obviously if Postal Plugs is reimbursing more than LipiFlow, that's not going to work out. So
correct. Hopefully they take that into account. So I don't think we know what the final reimbursement amount would be yet, but hopefully soon.
So I know we were talking a lot. Obviously, you guys are incorporating imaging so much into your practice. What have you found to be super useful for I mean, besides some of the Myopia images, to really show people so they understand what's going on in their ocular surface?
So in addition to using the keratograph to show them, to show patients their glands, their tears, all that, I've been working with advanced ophthalmic systems with a program called Interior, and I am, thank you. I'm gonna fire this up on my laptop because I can actually do this from home, which is why I really love it. I'm gonna bring that up for you right now. There we go. So one of the things that happened with the pandemic, as I'm sure like everybody else, we had to find ways to take care of our patients without them being in the office. So one of the things I started doing was telemedicine. And I know that was new for a lot of people. It was definitely new for me. And once I started doing telemedicine, I realized I wasn't ever going to give it up, because now that we have this tool in our toolbox, I think we can expand it a lot further than we've been using it. And I've been toying with doing dry eye exams and dry eye follow-ups from home. Because if I can catch somebody on their 10-minute lunch break at work and do their dry eye follow-up then, I can reach a lot more patients that way. And this system has been really helpful with that. And I teed up some really cool images, and they went somewhere.
Yeah, the convenience factor is huge. You know, everyone wants to be able to get access to anything in the world by just a touch of a button on their phone. So to be able to do this, you know, during a break time or on the fly, I mean, that's game changing. That's healthcare on demand. That's what people are asking for.
That's true.
Yes. And have you guys done a telehealth visit yourself? I got to do it with my doctor, and I thought it was so cool.
A little. You know, I love the concept, but just not quite there yet. You know, I'm trying to take notes from you, Brittany.
All right, so we're just gonna do this report on the fly since my other one went elsewhere. So let me back up a sec. And one of the cool things with this is I've been having patients send me pictures, like cell phone pictures, and running it through here. And we're gonna select patient Minnie Mouse. There we go. And there we go. So these are some of the images that I have. Some of these the technicians took for me while we were in clinic using the software from the keratograph. And then that's a picture of my eyeball. There we go. So I do a lot of some scleral lens fits because of all the anterior segment disease, all the dry eyes. And I don't know how well you can see this picture, and this is a very, very angry scleral eye. That was a patient that came to me with one that was not fitting optimally, I'll say. And she didn't send me this one from home. She sent me a different one from home. But what is really cool about this is you can actually do a redness map, and it will pick up all the blood vessels. Oh, there we go. And it will give you objective measurements for the percentage of redness, the vessels, and it'll give you a heat map. And if you are really interested in terrifying the patients into not overwearing their lenses, which is a big hobby of mine, you can actually show them the enhanced images, which really make those blood vessels pop out. And show the patients exactly how inflamed they are.
Wow, that's great. I mean, that enhancement really puts it into perspective about what's going on the surface. Because I think sometimes when I'll look at someone's eyes that are pretty inflamed, and I mean, I would call it like a 2+ injection. They're there for their routine exam, and I'm like, do you feel like your eyes are, staying a bit red and irritated? Like, oh, no, I don't notice anything. So sometimes when you live with redness, it just looks normal to you, and then they'll not think that it's a big deal, and they don't have any ocular surface disease issues. So having like an enhanced picture like this, maybe they can help tell the story a little bit better about why that's not normal.
Especially my teenagers that like to sleep in their dailies. This is a great photo for them.
Love it, love it. This is all great. This is amazing stuff, Brittany. What other toys and bells and whistles do you have? Or have we pretty much conquered everything? Because I mean, I've never seen an office that has so many toys in one room. Like this is like top of this heaven. Like this is just great. It's just everything at your fingertips for the most part.
Oh yeah, we have a new toy problem here. So here's one of my favorite things about this AOS system. And so this is a fluorescein photo we took in the office, and you can see all that punctate staining, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a pretty gnarly dry eye.
Yeah.
And you can actually hit a Ratin filter to make the spots pop out even brighter. So when you're showing it to patients, they can see it a little easier. But it also will count for you the punctate stains in each quadrant, and then you can track patients over time and show them whether or not they are. Let me move that over. There we go. Put that in the middle of the eye. All right, so we're gonna make it generally eye-sized. So now it's highlighting in red all those little punctate stains, and then it counts them per quadrant. So in this bottom area, they have 176 punctate stains.
Whoa.
In that one spot. So this was really easy to compare to the patients, like visit over visit, for them to see how they're doing. And I don't know what it was like when you were in optometry school and had to help with research projects, but I had to do one where we were literally counting every endothelial cell on endothelial cell photos, and it would take hours because there's hundreds of them. So having this do this for the punctate stains for me is just so beautiful. I love this so much.
Yeah, wow. That's nice. What was the name of the system for telemedicine again? Dr. Jennifer Chen is asking that question there.
The telemedicine. So this is the Advanced Ophthalmic Systems Interior program. And then for telemedicine, I use Doxy.me, which is actually a free platform. Okay. But there is telemedicine built into this. So with this program, you can ask patients to send you photos, and then you can review them via telemedicine online with them and do this whole workup, which is what I'm really trying to explore with doing full telehealth dry eye workups.
I absolutely love this idea because, like you said, when people come back in and you're managing dry eye, a lot of times signs and symptoms don't necessarily go hand in hand, right? They'll come back and be like, I don't know if I'm feeling better. I don't think anything helped that we've done. But if you can give numerical data and show they went from 170 punctate stains to 80, they still have punctate stains, okay? But that improvement is meaningful to them where they can see these numbers coming down and giving them hard numbers. Like that's not arguable where it's like, oh, it's a little less red than it was last time. And then to think like they don't even have to come in. They can take a few pictures and you can run it through these algorithms and then discuss the results remotely. That's amazing. It's not just, hey, let's talk about your dry eye and your symptoms. You're doing true data collection and giving them numerical outcomes via telemedicine. And I think that's a missing step in most of our telemedicine and why a lot of doctors haven't incorporated it, because we feel like we can't actually do anything. We can just like listen.
Right. And to be able to do this at home in my fuzzy bunny slippers has always been a dream of mine. So, believe it or not, this patient that I'm showing you right now, she had no idea she had dry eyes.
Oh my goodness.
That's always the patients with the worst dry eyes always think they're fine.
The nerves died off a long time ago. But you bring up a really good point about the hard data, because with dry eyes, I mean, like any chronic long-term disease, especially progressive ones, it's really hard to gauge if you're doing better, because if you notice your dry eyes even once during the day, it's a problem. So just like you walk into your house and you hit the light switch, you expect the lights to come on every single time. The one time that they don't, you notice there's something wrong. It's kind of the same thing with your eyes. Like, people don't want to have to think about them. You shouldn't feel them. So if you have dry eyes and you're better 85% of the time, you don't notice it, because that rest of the time that you're not better, you're really feeling it. So you feel like you haven't made much progress in a lot of cases. So having these objective measures has been really helpful, both for me and the patients, but it's been really great.
That's fantastic. Well, I know we've been talking about how you wanted to tell the story about how dry eye brought you to myopia management. So we'd love to hear about that.
Sure. So I love meibomian gland disease. Anybody who knows me should be shocked by that. But when I started imaging younger kids and seeing all the gland loss, that's kind of when I started getting into the negative effects of all the screen time on kids. I mean, adults also. But as I started researching, like, okay, they're developing dry eyes at a much younger age. The glands are dying off at a much younger age. And a lot of it is because they don't blink anymore. They're just staring at these screens all day. And having to remote learn during this pandemic certainly hasn't helped any of them. But in doing my research there, I was noticing how bad the myopia epidemic is and how much worse it's getting because of all the device use. So in finding the dry eye in the kids, I started doing research into the computers and their effect on kids, and finding out how much bigger this myopia problem was. So I never went into this aiming for doing pediatrics even, or myopia management, but just in following the dry eye rabbit hole down, I realized how big of a need there was for it. So our office has been doing that for the last couple of years now.
That's fantastic. Do you have a go-to myopia management platform? I know you mentioned MySight you were using earlier, but anything else that you're using in the office?
Yeah, so we love the MySight, and right now we're hoping to start a clinical trial doing comparison tests with atropine sprays for kids.
Oh,
so
awesome.
That's a trial that we're trying to get started.
I'm excited about that. We use MySight, OrthoK, and atropine in our practice. The biggest pushback we'll get on atropine is that it's not commercially available that easily. You know, they can't just go get it at Walgreens. And sometimes even going through a compounding mail order pharmacy, that feels like too much to handle. So hopefully these clinical trials go really well at your office.
I'm hoping so too. Also, the idea of a spray is so much easier than trying to get eye drops in a kid's eyes when they're like 4. If you can just spray them and it works the same way, it's going to be amazing. That's going to be a game changer.
I get a little nervous about sprays. I think it's going to freak kids out personally, but
What? No. That's how we used to always dilate our pediatric patients in the clinic. You just go. They can close their eyes and then spritz and then blink.
yeah.
Yeah, eyes closed. Eyes closed.
I like my drops.
A little aggressive.
Looking forward to see how the spray works.
You're not going to be allowed in my study, though. If you can't handle the spray, you're not allowed.
I'm sure that whoever your clinical partner was in optometry school is like, that's the guy I remember.
Oh, Jen, I took myself out of practicals in school because I was like, look, y'all not about to be hating me up in school simply because I failed y'all. So I try to sit out for most practicals. Because I'll let you in on a little fun fact. I have never met anyone who I could not put a contact lens in their eye, but I do not like anything in my eyes at all. Contacts, topical drops, nothing. Stay far away from me. But I can give that to everyone else with ease. That's an exclusive.
You heard it here first, people. You heard it here
Don't, if Daryl ever wants to come be your patient, tell him no. That's what we just heard.
Right, basically. Oh, wow.
But there's so much going on at y'all's office that's incredible. I just love how progressive you've been and how, I mean, like some of the stuff that we just got to like, oh, we got that. Like, you're so on top. The next time you buy something, you gotta let me know.
Next time you guys come, I'm gonna give you a whole tour.
Looking forward to it. Well, this has been great. I mean, I've seen everything underneath the sun when it comes to optometry, and I learned quite a bit. I think the highlight for me is really the allergy testing. I think that's incredible. I mean, I never even thought about bringing that into the office, but as you had mentioned, the combination of dry eye and allergies, I mean, there's a very close relationship there. So why not treat it? Why not practice full scope? Why not take it to the next level and give that experience and save that patient that extra step to an allergist or whatever it may be that they get that additional testing from. So for me, that was my highlight of this evening. Jen, what was your highlight in regards to this fabulous practice that Brittany has here?
Yeah, I mean, I just am blown away by the AOS system and what it can do with counting those SPK, counting the redness and giving a score, and then you can be able to process the analytics with time. And to think that my patient could upload an image and have me process it, and I can give them hard data from it. It may, I mean, I hate to, I'm not like a hater, but I'm a little bit negative about how useful telemedicine is in practice right now, and that could change my opinion.
It's come a long way. It started out a little rough. I agree with you there, but there's been some pretty good advancements in the last year and a half.
Awesome. Well, it looks like everyone's showing you nothing but love. Chris Wolf is saying, great job, Brittany. And we got to get you on the podcast and live stream as well. So looking forward to maybe connecting with you in the future. Dr. Fali saying thanks, keep up the great work. So you're doing an amazing job, Brittany. You are really setting the bar when it comes to Optocribs. So whoever's up next, step your game up, because Brittany is really setting the bar to a real high standard, you guys. And I think this is probably
so much
the best.
for having me.
Brittany,
This is a great comment.
Right here. Best thing about Dr. Brittany is her passion, excitement, and how deeply she cares about her patients. And that was from Aaron Werner.
That's so beautiful.
Aww,
I don't want to be like a bear's belly. Like, it makes me want to cry a little bit. It's so sweet. It's just so thoughtful that they would be watching and supporting you like that. It's so wonderful.
Yeah, this is great. Dr. Blue's giving you a round of applause. Shout out to Dr. Blue. Allison, this has been so great. You all are awesome. Well, thank you. I'm glad we got a little bit of love there too. That's cool. Thank you. And Claudio said, great job as well. So this has been great. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I mean, I'm looking forward to the next Optocribs. If you guys are interested in showcasing your practice, make sure it's better than Brittany's, because if not, you can't come on the show, because yeah, she has set the bar, taking it to the next level. But Jen, am I getting myself in trouble over here again as always?
We may never do another episode, apparently. But this was really awesome. We've all learned so much, and I mean, obviously, people were really into the technology that you showed, so it was so appreciative of you sharing your time with us.
Of course. Thanks for coming with me. Thanks for joining the tour.
Awesome. Well, it's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Daryl Glover, and the lovely Dr. Jennifer Lyerly, our favorite opto nerd. Dr. Brittany, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to communicate with you? Do you have social media, LinkedIn, email? What's the best way if they want to learn more about some of this cutting edge technology that you have in your practice?
Oh, yeah. So for the office, we do have Facebook. We've got Instagram. If you want to get in contact with me directly, the fastest way is by my email. And that's going to be Brittany, my first name, Brittany, at wernerod.com. wernerod.com. And you can get right to me.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Brittany. Everyone have a great evening. Thanks for tuning in. We greatly appreciate your support and love. Stay healthy, blessed, and positive. Until next time, peace. All right, colleagues, and it's a wrap. Thank you dearly for hanging out with the D-Focus Media team. We hope truly something resonated with you. And if it did, be sure to give us 5 stars. And make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, you named it. And our handle is at D-Focus Media on all platforms. And until next time, be sure to keep it 2020. And we look forward